Hi everyone, this is Phoenix Ankaa from the Phoenix Ankaa channel. Good to see everybody. Hey, just want to let you know that we want to talk about some of the things that recently happened within the last week or so. We feel that the world is in turmoil, floods, quakes, and cyclones. We want to talk about those, and we also want to give you the latest updates. We've had quite a few storms, and there's a lot of things going on that people just aren't talking about right now. Now, first of all, there was flooding. The last flooding that we had that was reported was in South Carolina, right in Columbia. And what you see there is a picture that depicts all the different intersections people were supposed to avoid during that time. The next photo you see is a volcano erupting. Right there by it, though, is a blue colored partial of the land, and that land itself was having extreme amounts of ground movement, seismic activity, which they didn't understand. Now, right below it, as you can see, you see the volcano, which is green, and then you see the earthquake happening all in this whole general area, and then you see two fires. Well, my question was this magma moving? Because that would cause the fires on one end, and at the same time it could cause the volcano eruption here because the magma would be going straight to the volcano. I don't know if that's what's happening, but it did look suspicious. And before I knew it, it was gone. It was like, oh no, we don't want that on there. But I caught it because I took a picture of it. Now, flooding also we have in South America. All that red you see are actually flood spots all throughout South America. Now, the blue you see are actually fires. So, but the majority of South America has a great deal of flooding going on right now. Now, the last time we checked, it was 13 floods, 3 wildfires, and 7 landslides. And 4 volcanoes were actually erupting at the same time. That's a great deal of activity, folks. Now, one thing to really be concerned about, I would have to say, are the landslides. Landslides are happening all over the planet. We're going to show you that very shortly. Now, you're going to see here also for Petrolia, California, most recent earthquake was 5.2, and it continued to have aftershocks. I'm going to give you the big grand total of aftershocks at the time that I actually taped this. How many it was, it's going to shock you. And also there are landslides and floods in the area as well. So there were landslides, and they didn't keep those on long, but they were actually happening. So you had earthquakes happening and landslides on land. Okay. No one said anything, but we did, like I said, we've been catching things. Now, another thing we want to take a look at are the landslides that are happening in Africa. All of these are all landslides, and it's right in the general area where that crack is going to be at, where it's supposed to split. If you have not seen the videos that I did on Africa, I'll put those in the description so you can see them. We showed the large, gigantic crack that's going all throughout Africa. It's called the African Rift. You'll have to see it. It's unbelievable, but they say it's going to split real soon. But those landslides are right there, right where it's supposed to split primarily. And also in this flooding area. Now, we're going to get to this cyclone that went through there. Now, the flooding and wildfires in Africa, you can see the same thing as South America. The red ones are primarily floods. So you have all that flooding. The blue are fires. Okay, and you have a few landslides that are along there too. You had 13 floods and 11 wildfires that were actually going on the whole time here in Africa. Now, the Cyclone Chido that you see here did hit on the 15th of December, and it did a lot of devastation. We do have video footage of some of the places that the Chido cyclone actually did take out extremely in horrific ways that I can't even explain. You'll see it for yourself in the videos. But the maximum winds at that time were clocked at about 138 miles per hour. It did go down some once it hit land, but a lot of the homes and all was not really sturdy. I mean, it's just, you'll have to see it for yourself. You'll understand. Now, Papua New Guinea, they have a great deal. All of this was all landslides. All landslides. So, and there's some more. And so we don't know what's going on. The earth is definitely shifting in a lot of ways, but no one's really saying anything. Now, other things that we want to bring up to your attention is we went ahead and reviewed some of the earthquakes that were taking place. In New Zealand, they had a total of 56 earthquakes in 24 hours at the time that we actually taped this. It was just yesterday. Four quakes were about at the 4 magnitude, 5 were in between 3 and 4, 19 quakes were between 2 and 3 magnitude, and 28 quakes were below the 2 magnitude. California, Cali, you've been rocking and rolling out there. You had about 91 quakes in 24 hours. One quake was about 3 magnitude, 7 quakes were between 2 and 3, and 83 quakes were below the 2 magnitude out in California. In Greece, you also were rocking and rolling. You had 42 quakes in 24 hours. One quake was between 3 and 4 magnitude, 13 quakes were between 2 and 3 magnitude, and 27 quakes were actually below the 2 magnitude. Now, we're going to keep going because there's a few places that are really shocking, especially the aftershocks. Now, Indonesia, 19 quakes, 24 hours, one quake above a 5, 8 quakes between a 4 and 5, 8 quakes between 3 and 4 magnitudes, and 2 quakes between 2 and 3 magnitude. Alaska, 46 quakes in 24 hours. One quake is about 3 magnitude, 10 quakes between 2 and 3, and 35 quakes were below the 2 magnitude range. Japan had a total of 373 quakes in 24 hours. There were 8 quakes were above the 3 magnitude, 39 quakes between the 2 and 3 magnitude, and 326 were below the 2 magnitude. It appears as though the plates are shifting. That's what it appears, because they're right out there by the Pacific. Now, another areas, a few more areas. These will be the last 3 we're going to cover. Mexico, 33 quakes in 24 hours, 4 quakes at the 4 magnitude above it, 14 quakes between the 3 and 5 magnitude, 13 quakes between the 2 and 3. Costa Rica, it's not known to have a lot of earthquakes. They do have them, but they were starting to have a lot more recently. Total 42 quakes in 24 hours, 2 quakes above the 4 magnitude, 19 quakes between the 3 and 4, and 21 quakes between the 2 and 3. Petrolia, this is another astronomical number. Total of 9 quakes in 24 hours, 3 quakes above the 3 magnitude, 5 quakes between the 2 and the 3 magnitude. But the total aftershocks since the 5 December earthquake is 365 aftershocks. That was as of yesterday. Okay, I mean that's astronomical. I'm not used to seeing those kind of numbers. Now let's talk about a few things. Let's get a look at these maps and see exactly what's going on. This is Africa, as you can see, and look at all the flooding. It looked like it increased from the time that I actually had counted. But look at all of that. That's all floods. Those red circle with the circle, all flooding, all flooding. There's a drought right there. Flooding. Now remember, the cyclone was coming in and it was already flooding in these areas when it came. Okay, so and there's an island that it really did affect really bad. Now we're going to show you what this looks like in these areas. But I want you to take note. In Africa right now, there's a great deal of floods, fires, and landslides. And we're pointing them all out to you. All the yellowish looking ones are landslides. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the next slide. But the majority of Africa is flooding. It has been flooding now for quite some time. Now, another area that's actually been flooding a lot is in the India area and the Myanmar area, Thailand, and Cambodia, and Vietnam area. They're experiencing a lot of storms, floodings, earthquakes, and landslides. So they're getting it all. You can see here the earthquake. That's a landslide. That's flooding. This is a storm. This is flooding. That's a landslide. See that? And these are storms. And that's more flooding. So they're being impacted also as well. So we haven't just look at all this flooding. This is what's getting me. Indonesia. Now that's the next side of that's the east side of where we were just looking at. Nothing but volcanoes erupting. You have landslides and volcanic eruptions there. You have landslides, all landslides in these areas here and flooding. Here you have storm, landslides, and flooding. Here you have landslides and a volcano going off. And you also have earthquakes happening at the same time. So let's look at this. Indonesia right now are getting landslides, storms, flooding, eruptions, and earthquakes. They're getting it all. And some of the photos have been very alarming as far as some of the landslides that are coming from that area. Okay. So that's one area that's really being impacted. Now let's look at the rest of Indonesia. This is the rest of Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. All in that area is still that same general area. You see landslides, volcanoes going off, earthquakes going off, landslides, flooding, and an earthquake right there, and an earthquake right there. We're pointing everything out to you guys, and an earthquake right there. So they have earthquakes, landslides, volcanoes go erupting. I mean, I don't know what else. It's like being in Hades right now, where these people are, and it's supposed to be like a really friendly area. Now, Vanuatu on the 16th had the initial 7.3. They just had a 5.1 as of today. They're prone to a lot of landslides. They're having a great deal of landslides out there as well. We need to pray for those people. They've gone through so much. The whole entire area have been devastated. We're going to be sure to show you that on the videos that are coming up. The cyclone came through there. Now you also have South Carolina has been devastated, as we already know, in September. Want to give you guys heads up. Make sure you get the information to everyone out there or anyone you know in that area. The unemployment assistance deadline is being extended to January the 7th, 2025. And the same thing with the FEMA assistance. The deadline for FEMA is also the 7th of January. I'll be sure to put the link in the description so that way you can pass that information to others. There's additional information on that link. So let's help those people out there. Now, I want to also state that we need to keep an eye on Petrolia and Ferndale. Petrolia we already know had 365 aftershocks. Keep watching the earthquakes, landslides. Make sure you have an emergency alert if you live in that area, because there were actually landslides across from this area here on the mainland. So please, make sure you guys have some sort of emergency alert so that way you will know how to move. Philippines, they're having nothing but landslides, whole bunch of landslides, earthquakes, floods. Same thing. So they're going through a lot there. For no apparent reason, they're having landslides. They're not really having too many earthquakes. Earthquakes are way up here. The landslides are down here. So why are they having so many landslides? No one knows. I put tectonic movement because they are on the Philippine plate. It's hard to say. No one will really tell us anything. Okay. Now, we already talked about there. The main thing I had put on this slide was just to make sure about the landslides. The landslides seemed like they had quite a few on the map when I had looked. Now, this week, I wanted to give you preparedness items, tell you some things that you may be able to pick up really, really cheap right now. And if it's cheap right now, you need to possibly look into it. I'll put some links on as far as the things that I'm stocking up on to see if you'd like to have those things too. Things such as the lentils, the rice, and there's also this one particular company also has wheat as well. Make sure you get yourself a disaster alert. I mentioned that already. The disaster alert app itself is really good. That's where I was getting all the pictures for all the floods and the landslides. You'll be getting all of that, the alerts on your phone, and you need to see that, especially with the upcoming days. We don't know what's getting ready to happen. I also have distilled my water every day and about to start storing a great deal of it. I use it for my hair. My hair is growing like crazy. My face, I don't even use soap on my face. I actually use distilled water and sometimes baking soda. And my face is so clear right now. Normally I have a lot of skin problems, but I'm realizing it was from the water. So you might want to take into account to get yourself a counter distiller. And I look for the cheapest ones. Even though I say the cheapest ones, you'll see the same one for about $90, and I can get what I can get it probably about $40 less for you. But I'll keep looking out, and I'll always keep the links updated. Okay, on that for you. Now, one of the things that people run out of or forget to have is a manual can opener. People get so used to the electric ones. Make sure you pick up some manual can openers. Some seasoned firewood. Sometimes I kept firewood in my truck throughout for the last couple of years, so I always had it in the winter. I have to restock it back up though, because I used it this winter because it's gotten really cold. But it's a good idea in case if you are stalled or something, or and you don't know how you're going to stay warm, and you don't, let's say you don't have that much on you, but you do have firewood in your car and a way to start the fire. At least you can stay warm. The other thing I keep in the car is an electric blanket that I can actually plug into the cigarette lighter. So that it was a good thing that I had read across. I always keep that in there. I also have some gadgets and stuff, and I'll include that in the next video that I do. But we find the deals for you, and those are affiliate links, and to show you exactly what I buy. And I'm really picky, so trust me, I put a lot of thought into whatever I put down there for you. All right. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to get ready to look at the footage, but I want to remind you of something. Something is going to be happening real soon on the 21st of this month. There's some sort of jubilee thing going on, this ritual going on and everything. There is a video that I did on this for the eclipse, but attached to it is something that could possibly happen on December the 21st. You really need to look at this video. If you haven't seen it, okay, you'll see my introduction, and after my introduction, it's on like Donkey Kong. They thought that this particular event was going to happen in 2020, where people would see 2020 vision. It made sense, but it's a little deeper than that. So you might want to look at that to see what might be going on with the firmament, and partially what's going on with the skies right now is all related. I don't want to give it away, but you need to see this video to understand it. Now I just want to say thanks, guys, for listening to me, give you all the updates. The rest of the video will be video footage. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and please pass this video around. And it's really great to have you all on the channel. Talk to you soon. Check this out. Here we go.
Hah? Mas mana we mi yora kiri ni kire ni. Maka mi ah me no wari de no bi lero. Ai tu yora kiri. Ini foto ni.